on a... Oh, hello! Would you say that college is hell in terms of workload? Absolutely. You guys know how I feel about college. Ugh. Well, no, okay, I say that out of context. College, for me, was... I'm gonna get a bunch of fences for our sheep farm. So I went to art college. And I thought the art college was gonna be freedom in a way. I thought that I'd go to art college and I could just be as creative as I liked and I would have the artistic freedom to do whatever I wanted. But it was actually really, really restrictive, and I ended up having to do artwork that I just didn't like. And I wasn't happy with it. I was never happy with it. I was always really perfectionist about it, so I would never turn up anything on time, and then I would have that thing that I spent weeks making because I was trying to perfect it, which would never actually end up getting a grade because I just didn't hand it in on time. And I just felt like it really started to suck all of the fun out of art and the reason that I started doing art in the first place. So I've always had quite I guess like a liberal kind of view on education. Hi sheep, come with me please. Because I think the system of how education is done these days absolutely needs a do-over. Because they're not teaching us anything in these educational, in colleges or schools. We're not really being taught anything. All we're being taught is how to have a good memory and pass an exam. What we're taught is things that we don't actually need to know, and they don't actually care if we learn them or not. They just care if we can remember it long enough to put it down on a piece of paper during an exam. So I think education needs to have more of an approach where they're actually teaching things, and it's engaging, and it's worthwhile, instead of just having to pass a quota, which I can understand is really difficult because there's so many kids and the teachers and the schools are underfunded. But yeah, I definitely think there's too much work being put on people. Or maybe just not the right kind of work, which is why it feels so like it's such a workload, because it's just not the right kind of work that people should be doing. Like, writing stuff down on a piece of paper over and over again, that's not gonna teach you anything. I don't know, I have very complex feelings towards the whole education system. I definitely think it needs an overhaul of how it's done. The way I feel is very complex. Because maybe it's just because I had personally a really bad experience with education. Maybe that could be a big part of it and why I feel this way. But I don't think school, how the current system is, I don't think it's doing any good for anyone. Yeah, I guess that's how I'd say it. It just needs to... Everyone learns differently, and you shouldn't have to be punished for learning differently. Because how are you supposed to dictate how someone learns something? How are you supposed to do that? You can't. And they put all these rules, like, you have to be looking at the front of the classroom, and if you look away for a second, that means you're not paying attention. It's just... It doesn't make sense. That's not natural human learning. It's training people to be robots. It's training people to work in a workforce. It's teaching people to get used to the idea of having to take their work and do it at home and being overworked and sitting in an office. That's not what a human lifestyle is, you know? It's just so unnatural to me. Go on, make babies. I need your skin. I need your skin. Yay! Gray sheep? Aw, cute. Yeah, so we can start separating them into different colors and stuff, and we can get, like a different color farm going. And the reason I have so many carrots here is because I have a really good carrot villager. He gives me lots of emeralds. Because I was always, I guess, yeah, I was always more creatively inclined than I was, like, studying and on paper. And to, like, help myself, sorry. So help myself to study, I'd always be doodling on my books, and I'd be doing stuff, or I'd be daydreaming. But to them, that's just not paying attention, that's failing. And then I'd end up being put in like these social isolation classrooms, which are terrifying. You'd just be locked in a room by yourself and forced to stare at nothing but a piece of paper. It's like, that's not how you're gonna learn how to do stuff. I don't know. Yeah, I think things need to change. But I'm glad actually, because I see lots of younger people who are getting into the teaching business, and they're bringing this kind of new idea of teaching with them, which I think is really cool. So hopefully the classrooms that we'll be seeing in the next few years are going to be a lot more, a lot nicer for the people who have to sit in them, I think. It is, and I get a lot of stress from GCSEs. Yeah, and it's like, what is that stress? What good is that doing to the pupil that you're trying to teach how to flourish? What is that stress doing? All that's doing is associating these negative, associating these negative thoughts with school. I'm sorry, these cows are gonna get real loud real quick. And they think like punishment is the way to go, but that's just associating a really negative thought about school. It should be, you should go to school and you should have fun and you should learn new things. You shouldn't sit in one spot and stare at paper and write until your hand hurts. That's not how it should work. No one's gonna learn anything from that. Like, come on, what have we, I'm asking everyone this, what have you learned in school that you've actually remembered that has been useful in your day-to-day life? Like, and I mean that genuinely, like, it was like, just the stuff it's not necessary. We should be being taught life things, you know? I genuinely can't think of anything that I was taught in high school that I have found use in. I really can't. I can't think of a single time anything that I've ever learned has come in handy. Nearly off myself because of the stress in the school. Yep, absolutely. It made me feel in school, it made me feel useless because no matter how much effort that I put in, it was never enough. No matter what I did, it was just never enough. It was always try harder. Even when I was giving 110%, it was always try harder. And you know what? People shouldn't have to try 100%. Whoa. Excuse me? Sir? What is this spider doing? I'll leave you to it. There you go. But you shouldn't have to try 110%. Because if 100% is all you can give, then you don't owe anyone 110% of what you can do. Because if 100% is all that you can give and someone asks you for 110%, it's like, what do you want from me? I'm giving all that I can give you, and you want 100, you want more? That's someone that doesn't care. They only want to see results. They don't care about your health. And it's a shame how many people that I've heard, you need to give 110%. It's like, that's not healthy. No, I will give you 100%, not 110%. I will not try any harder because this is the hardest I can try. This is everything I can give. And demanding me to... God darn it. I've given you everything I can. And how dare you demand that I give you more? When in reality, the people who ask this from you most likely don't deserve it at all. It's often teachers always take it on themselves to blame you for things. Like, it's your fault that you can't do this. Like, why do you think you can't do this? Like, oh, don't you hate it? And it's like, you're struggling, and it's like, why do you think this is? It's like, oh, because you're a terrible teacher. Mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. I bet you school didn't teach you that. I bet you internet memes did. I bet you didn't learn that in school. But at the same time, it was just this level of perfectionism that I don't think anyone could have achieved in a healthy manner There's like no way you could have done what they wanted you to do without sacrificing your sanity and your sleep. And I don't know, they would always encourage people to, like, if you can't finish this on time, don't sleep tonight, skip your meals, get it done. It's like, no, don't encourage people to suffer and end up harming themselves because you have these insane expectations that no one will realistically is ever going to hit. That's I have many woes with the world. Always be so stressful that I would cry at night. It doesn't make a workspace, it makes a prison. Absolutely. To have a productive workspace, people need to feel safe and happy, and they need to feel like they're getting things done and they're being appreciated. And just some of the way that these people teach and expect the undoable from people, like, that's never going to be a healthy workplace for anyone. That's never going to happen. I had a perv teacher in school. Yeah, I won't read that out, but yeah, we had a couple teachers like that. And it's a shame that at this point school really is just a place that you go to put your kids to put them in danger. It's sad. Things need to be changed, for sure. People have been allowed to get away with things for so long in schools that it's sad that almost everyone that I know has a story like that. We should hear these kind of stories and be disgusted and almost find it hard to believe, instead of being like, oh yeah, I had a teacher just like that. Like, isn't it so horrible that that's such a common occurrence that no one bats an eye? That's not how it should be. It shouldn't. I'm sorry, this is very dull conversation. People, when they see improvements being made, and they get salty because they're like, well, things weren't that easy for me when I was in school. Base and Enderman have been at this. And it's like, well, you should be happy that things are getting better for kids so they don't have to go through the exact same things that we did. So I have hope, because the same kids that suffered from a really bad education system, they're growing up and they're going to be the next generation of teachers and they're going to put it right. I hope so anyway. That's the hope that I have.